So everyone, my name is Lakeisha Paul. You have entered the Sister Gathering Blab. I'd like to thank you all for joining us on this evening as I am here with special guest Lady Ya Hughes. Welcome, Lady Ya. Thank you so much for saying yes and be a part of this conversation with the Sister Gathering. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I am doing very well. It is a pleasure to be here. So I'm super excited for this interview, this time, this gathering, and I am ready to see just what we're going to talk about and have a wonderful dialogue.
Yes, we will. We will. And so I want to start off by just letting those that are joining, let them know that this is a faith-based conversation, that we are Christians. So we'll be discussing our faith and we'll be discussing our Christianity in that and some roles that we play in our ministries and things of that nature. So we just ask that we just respect one another. If this is not to your liking, you can go to another blab. I don't know how to say it. I don't know. You all let me know in the comments. Was that a bad thing? Since there's only a few of us here. But I just want to use this platform respectfully and ask those to respect us as we will respect your blab. How about that? Okay.
That's right.
So I will start off this conversation like this. I'm over in 2 Timothy chapter 1, and I'm at number 6, okay? Mm-hmm. And it says, I'm going to just read that one verse, 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 6. I'm going to read that one. Thank you, Shantae. Shantae said that was great instruction, so I'm on a roll. I'm good. Okay, therefore I remind you to stir up the gift of God which is in you through the laying on of my hands. So dealing with the first part regarding, this is not exegesis, this is eisegesis, people. So dealing with the first part that talks about stirring up the gifts. What I want to ask you is, I want to ask you, what gift has been stirred up in you? For me, I believe we have many gifts. I believe that the Lord has gifted us with many gifts. The scripture says that our gifts will make room for us, our gift, I should say. And so I believe we have many gifts, but there is a dominant gift. Does that make sense? We have many gifts, but there is a dominant gift. So I'm asking you, what is that dominant gift that's in you that has been stirred up?
I would definitely say that my dominant gift is, for those of us that are in the faith base, I am a seer. Like, I see and I can discern things. I can feel spirits. I can discern different spirits. So that gift is one of the things that I operate in. But my gift to help people be restored and reconcile their emotions and their spirits that they picked up along the way, be it they were thrusted upon them or they're in this place of they're operating out of the spirit of rejection and different things. My whole gift and desire is to just allow them to walk in restoration.
Okay, that's awesome.
To help them walk in restoration. Yes.
So you're able to teach other young ladies or restore people based on the fact that you've been restored.
Absolutely.
I'm going to stop you right there, because what I didn't do, I didn't let you introduce yourself. So I want to make sure that you get a proper introduction. Let them know who you are and where you're from.
All right. So for everyone that is on, thank you so much again for joining us. My name is Yashakia Hughes. Most people call me Lady Ya. I am a elder in the Lord's Church. I co-pastor alongside my husband. Well, I'm assistant pastor alongside my husband in the Dover, Delaware area. I am originally from Philadelphia. However, my journey has taken me from Philadelphia to Maryland, and now by way of ministry, I am in the Delaware area. And just a little bit about my story, I am one who has been through a lot. My parents both were substance abuse users, in and out of prison, and at a very young age, I picked up the spirit of rejection, and I suffered for a very long time with being rejected, not feeling that I was adequate enough, not feeling that I was wanted, allowing my issues to become my identity. And in the past 12 years, I have overcome those issues and been able to walk in purpose. And because I walk in purpose, because I have dealt with those issues and those spirits, it is my desire, it is my goal, it is my life mission to help other women, specifically men also, but help other women specifically move from that place of pain to purpose, and to help them get to a place of restoration.
Awesome. And so then that brings us right back to the fact of your gift of restoring. That brings us back to that. So thank you for that awesome tell us all about yourself. That was awesome. And
thank you.
So what I was gonna say is that I gave you a nickname, and I don't know if you are aware of this. So when I've been putting out my posts, I don't know if you paid attention. My name for you is Firestarter. Why did I give you that name? Because I noticed on Periscope, when I'm on your Periscope, I can see your passion come through my, whatever device I'm on, whatever it is you're talking about, you are so passionate about it. And you always lighting a fire. You're lighting a fire under your followers. I know for me that I like people like that. It gets me going. It gets me. The thing about it is that, we have enough motivational speakers. So I'm glad that you're not only motivating us, but you're a spirit-filled motivator. Does that make sense? So you
absolutely
always sure that God is in there. And so that's why I thank God for our connection. So, okay. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about your book about your book and what it talks about and how people can get your book.
All right.
And thank you for joining Lady Scott. If you don't mind, Lady Scott, if you can type in the information to get her book once she states it. Thank you.
So the title of my book, it's Made Whole, and here it is right here. It's called Made Whole, A Woman's Journey from Painful to Powerful, and this is what the back cover looks like. I didn't want the focus initially to be on me, but to be on you being made whole. And if you notice that the way that the cover is, it looks like a crumbled piece of paper, because for so many years, the story behind that is for so many years, I used to journal and I used to write questions to God. Why didn't the people that are supposed to love me? Why am I in this place? And out of fear and not wanting anybody to see it, I would crumble pieces of paper up when people would come around or anything, and I would put them in my pocket. And I had developed a habit of having all of these crumbled papers. But one day I can remember hearing God's voice, and he explained to me that while I'm crumbled, I'm not torn. So that's what the cover is. And this book is a very transparent book as it relates to getting from a place of not feeling whole, not feeling adequate, not feeling enough, to wholeness. And it mirrors the woman with the issue of blood, and how they don't even give her a name. Her issue became her identity. Her issue became her identity. And she did everything she could for 12 years to get things right. And I can remember going through doing everything that I thought that I could to get to the next phase or the next level. But it wasn't until I tapped into Jesus. It wasn't until I had just that little bit of faith to go through the crowd, to get past everything, and to get to this place. So it takes you on a journey, and it opens up, and it talks about some very pivotal and key things in my life. I open the book up with the tell-all, like I just fill it all out in the beginning and kind of work your way to being made whole. So you go through these feelings and emotions with me. And at the end of every chapter, I have that aha moment. It's called my made moment. That moment that made me realize that I need to get better. That moment that made me realize that I need to do something different. And then I challenge the reader by asking questions. What is your it? What are those things that have stunted your growth? What are those issues that have become your identity? So that's basically what the book is. It talks about my journey. While it talks about my journey, the hope, the overcoming, the fear, and the faith mirrors everyone, not just women. So it's definitely a great read. It is a transparent read, and you can get that at www.madeforpurpose.org. So madeforpurpose.org.
And if you want, you can plug that link right in the comment section so that people can get the link and go directly there. And I'll try to plug it in too before it's over. That's awesome. And so you talked about the cover. I know I'm going all the way back, but you talked about the cover of the
Sorry,
book.
guys.
No, you're fine. Look, it's live. It's okay. So you talked about the fact about you talked about the paper, the cover of your book and what it meant. And what I like that you said that you're crumbled but not broken. Wow. I like how it wasn't you're pulsing, but I think you can still hear me. Did we lose her? Can everybody see her but me? If you can just let me know by saying can you clarify that, Shantae? You can't see her. Okay. You can hear me, the host, but you can't see any of us, or you just can't see her. You can't see her. Okay. So, Lady Ya, you might. Okay, thank you. So, Lady Ya, you might just have to hit the refresh button. I can't see or hear her. Yes, I can't see. Okay. We can't see you, Lady Ya. You're just pulsing. So, you might need to refresh. Those that are tuning in on Periscope, thank you so much for joining. This is the Sister Gathering Blab, and I'm here with Lady Ya Hughes. And this is what happens with live streaming. You know, well, you just refresh by hitting the little. It depends on what the device you're at. So what I'm gonna do, Lady Ya, is I'm gonna X you out, and then you can you can ring to be, and I can let you back in. Let's see if that works. Hey. I think she is on an iPhone. I don't have an iPhone, so I'm not sure how those works, but that is what she's on, I believe. Tell Mama to come here. So we'll wait for her to come back, but while we're waiting for her, I just wanted to remind everybody why we have gathered on tonight. My name is Lakeisha Poe, and I do what is called the Sister Gathering Blab, and I host, and it's not only for women, it's also, we're going to be having some men to join us as well. So look out for these announcements, because I can't wait to get a male perspective in on some of the conversation as well. So, he said, okay. Yeah, so we'll be doing that as well. And so we're just going to wait for her to, so kind of me. Awesome. So she's here. Okay, so ask to join again, Lady Ya. Do I have that one? Okay, I opened up a seat, so you can jump in there. And so tonight we're here with Lady Ya Hughes, and this is what happens with live stream. There's some technical difficulties that happen sometimes.
Here we go. Sorry, guys.
You're back.
Yes, I am back.
Yes. I don't know what happened, but I can hear you and see you, but that's just something that happens sometimes with live stream. And did I lose my thought? Or did I lose I think I lost my thought. I was speaking about the fact of you saying you were being so detailed in that cover, which when you were speaking about the cover, the piece of paper was crumbled, and it meant for you to crumble, but you're not broken. I thought that was excellent for you to just for you to allow God to just to expand on that through a book. Expand on the fact that you might have had some setbacks, and we all have setbacks. We have challenges and stuff, but we are not broken. Things happen. It's called life. And so there's a moment to just tell you, don't give up, because it's a thing called life. And regardless that there'll be challenges, there'll be situations that will come up that you'll go through, but just know that you are not broken. Okay. All right. So, Lady Ya, one of the other things, you are a pastor. You're not only a first lady, but you are a pastor. So that you're executive pastor, second in command to your husband, right? Pastor Kevin. Yes. Wow. And so what I wanted to also get you to talk a little bit about is the fact that you shared your story about how you all are church planters, how you uprooted, kind of like Abraham, you uprooted and you went and you planted in a whole nother city where nobody basically knew you. You didn't know anybody. You didn't know nobody's name. Talk about what was that journey like a little bit. Talk about that a little, because a lot of times we allow things like that that's kind of big for some people. And so we allow things like that, like I'm not moving. We'll stop God's whole process because we don't want to make a dramatic move like you and your husband did. So speak to that a little bit.
Absolutely. Give you the little story behind it, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. But so to talk about that story, my husband and I decided to, well, not decided, God called my husband and I to leave and start a church. We knew that we were called to ministry. However, we thought that we were going to stay where we were, stay in the comfort zone. But like you said, just like Abraham, God told us to pack up our things and to leave. Now, my husband and I both are higher education, and he's a police officer. So, but in the higher education realm, God spoke to us and told us that we needed to go. Now, my first initial thought behind that was, are you sure? Can we do what you have called us to do right here, God? Because together, and some of you may not know the story, but together we were making almost $90,000 between the two of us, just with one child, just us. And God told us it was time for us to go. My husband come to me, and we decided to fast and pray and think about, so that God can reveal to us where we were to go. So my husband came back and he said that, God told him Delaware. And I said, well, God didn't so much say Delaware, but he kept saying 302. And me being very deep, I'm looking for the 302nd verse in the Bible. I'm just trying to see all of this to get this connection. But if you don't know, 302 is the area code for Delaware. So I was like, okay, God. So we decided to go into Dover, Delaware, left everything. We both left our job the same exact day, October the 5th, 2012, to come here to start. All we had was each other, our savings, and a new apartment. And we're here today celebrating this October, 3 years in full-time ministry. And that journey for me was definitely a test of faith, of hearing God's voice. And I can remember on the days when I couldn't see it, I didn't understand it. God will remind me that everything that we needed was here in Dover. So, when we get comfortable, we want to go back to the place where we're comfortable and we're familiar. And we had to rely on each other. We had to do this. I can remember the first couple of months, it was just my husband, myself, my son, and my mother-in-law in church. And my husband was preaching like he was preaching to 1,000 people, to that one person, to his family. And just seeing his test of faith and his spark activated something in me. And today we are over 25 adult members, over 30 in 3 years, by doing what God said for us to do. So every time I come up against something, I always remind myself of the faith that we had, like Abraham, to leave everything behind to come here. So I know that all of the other things that I'll come up against, I know that I just have to trust God.
And what I like is that you're so confident, and you said it took us from one member to 35 adults, right? So many people are looking to go from one member to thousands. And so it's not about the number. It's not about the fact that being a mega church. It's about being in the will of God. And I wish people will get that, because if we just speak to the one person, we are doing our due diligence, right? We are, as long as we're in the will of God, whether it's 1, whether it's 20, whether it's 10, no matter what the number is. And so, yes, you better speak to them 35 like there's 1,000, because the thing about it is that wherever God is taking you, the number doesn't matter. It's who we're reaching. It's about us doing the like I said, being in the will of God and doing the Great Commission, right? Going into and telling of God. I'm so proud of you all. Thank you. I think I told you this on Periscope one time. I was listening to you and you were telling this exact story, and I was like, I'm so proud of you. And I don't know what triggered that, but that was, because godly connections, they don't come. You got to be really careful to make sure that they're godly connections. They're not just you trying to connect just because. But I'm really proud of you all to pick up. And like you said, you had to get out of your comfort zone. And what you were saying is so easy for us in whatever arena, whether it's ministry, whether it's our job situation. We'll stay because we're comfortable. I know stay on jobs and we'll stay in ministries where we're feeling abused, where we're feeling neglected. And one thing that me and my husband, we talked about a little bit this week is we talked about the fact of church is not your life. Church is a part of your life. Your relationship is with God, right? So we sometimes as church folk or as people, I don't want to use church folk, as people, we'll make our jobs our life. We'll make our ministry our lives. We'll make our children our life, where these things are supposed to come to enhance our life, and they're supposed to be a part of our lives, right? And so I just had to, throw that kind of out there to speak to the fact about, regardless of where God has you, wherever he has you, if it's in his will, that's where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely. And
Delaware is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. So thank you so much. It is definitely a moment, and those 3 years weren't easy. They weren't easy years when you see the vision that God has given you, but nobody else sees it yet. And there's times where you feel like, did I hear you, God? Because you don't have those people. And one of the things that you touched on is a lot of people are looking to go from 1 member to 700 members within the first month. While that may be a calling for someone, that may not be for everyone. And a lot of things that we found and we were up against were people would come and they would visit our church and they would absolutely love it. They would love the word of God. They would love everything that my husband and I were preaching and teaching and standing for, but because it was not enough people there for them, they didn't stay. So one of the things that we had to begin to tell ourselves is, we're called to a specific type of people. And if they get caught up in quantity versus quality, are they the people that we really need in our ministry to serve? Because they already have fixated in their mind the type of people that we should be, or the type of ministry it should be, or how many people are there. If you're coming to get your refuel, if you're coming to get a better relationship with God, if you're coming to come out of some bondage to some things, it doesn't matter how many people are there, because you're there for that specific reason, for that specific call. So we had to shift our mind frame and think about that and not worry about those people. And it was a lot of trusting in God. And we're starting to see, the fruits of our labor. We're getting wonderful people that honor the vision, honor us, and are ready to change in their life, not become so accustomed to religion and all of those things. We don't have a dress code. We don't have a printed program every Sunday. You come to get the word of God. So, we don't really we have a praise team, but we don't have consistent musicians. So right now we are building word. We're building word babies, meaning you get the word while you get a little bit of music. All of the pomp and circumstance isn't there. It's not there yet. We are actively looking. One of the things that my husband, and then I know that I don't want to go too far into it. One of the things that my husband is very intentional on is he doesn't allow for musicians that are not a part of our ministry, are not there to be fed, are not there to sit at his feet and learn and grow. They can't be a part. They cannot just come and get paid to play at our ministry and go somewhere else. Because while your gifts and talents are great, we have to cultivate your spirit. You have to get the
absolutely
culture of ministry. So if that means that we won't have musicians for a couple more years, that's fine, because we know that God is going to send somebody that is true to our vision and our ministry.
Absolutely. And that's good. It's so funny because I have a musician. My husband's a drummer. He's an MD. And so, but he's a believer and he's always yearning for more. He's always like, look, it's not about being just a musician. It's not about being just a hired musician. He's great at what he does. He gets paid for what he does. But he's like, look, if I'm not growing spiritually, I don't need this check. And so that's the thing about, you're absolutely right. He's also a member of where he serves. So he's the servant leader. And so I think that that's awesome. I think that's a great standard to have. And we don't want to lose standards, whatever they are. We don't want to get lost in our in not having standards. So what I want to do is I want to welcome those that that have joined, that have joined since we've been having a conversation. Just want to, good question. I was just about to tell you what this blab is about. This blab is based around our faith. We are Christians. All are welcome. We just ask that everyone will respect this platform as we will respect your blab as well. If you're not a believer, it's okay. You're welcome to stay and join in on the conversation, okay? And so this is what I call the Sister Gathering Blab, and I am here with my guest, Lady Hughes. And so that's what we're doing on tonight. And those in Periscope land, my Periscope family, thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you for those that are hanging in there. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. And if you want to get in and ask some questions, you'll need to come to the Blab side because I can't watch both. But I appreciate you logging on. And so we thank God for Lady Yah. But that's what this Blab is about, James. Thank you for joining us. And so that's awesome that you have such a mindset of excellence. To me, that's what it sounds like. You want to do things with excellence, and you want to do things according to making sure you're in the will of God and making sure you're in God's word. And I think that is so important. And I think that in ministry, that's what should drive us. People and numbers shouldn't drive us, but what should drive us is the call on our lives and the path that God has brought us to for the people, because the people that need you will be in your path if you're on the right path. That's what I think, And so where are you? Lady Yah, can you tell him where your ministry is located, please? James is asking over here in the comment section.
Yeah. Hi, James. Thanks for joining us. Our ministry is Greater Life Ministries, and we are located in Dover, Delaware. So we're in the Delaware area. Not sure what region you're from. So we're north in the Delaware area. We're about an hour south of Philadelphia. We are about an hour and a half, kind of like east of Baltimore area and the DC area. And then we are about 2.5, 3 hours north of Virginia. Oh, wow.
He's in Houston, Texas. Nice. Welcome, Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
Well, and also, if you all don't mind, if you haven't done it already, if you can just go over it's to my left, and you can tell the little bird, just click on that, and you can invite your Twitter followers to see what we're doing. Those in Periscope, you can also swipe to invite. And that'll be good. Thank you so much.
James,
thank you.
I Speak Stowe is one of our spiritual sons.
Okay.
He was one of the students at Delaware State University, so he joined us at our ministry, and he is now back in North Carolina. So he always supports us via virtually. So thank you.
Oh, nice. Thank you. So let me hang up. So Periscope, I'm going to leave now. God bless you all. If you want to join in on the conversation more, once again, come over to blab.im. You all be blessed this evening. Okay, so thank you for joining, Savvy. So can you tell me the gentleman's name again? That you said?
Stowe, but his name is Peragio.
Peragio, that's how you said it. Welcome, Peragio. So that is what this blab is about. And you're doing awesome, Lady Yah. I'm really enjoying it. I want to touch on this subject, and we have somebody that just joined us, but I don't know if she's sneaking to join, because I would like for her to get in this seat on this one question. So she'll let me know if she's capable, if she can or cannot. She know who I'm talking about. So listen, so here's a question for you. I just said you're an executive pastor. You work alongside of your husband, which is awesome. You're also considered what is known in the church world, in Christianity, as a first lady. And so I want to touch a little bit on the fact, and I put the question out there on Facebook earlier during the week. The question was, as a first lady, because you came First Lady Yah Hughes, are you to be served, or are you still there to serve?
Oh,
I want to touch on that a little bit. I want to touch on the whole conversation about what goes around the First Lady. And I'll add questions as you talk, but go ahead.
Okay. So I would like to say that I consider myself the leading lady. Now, we do understand the term first lady because it comes from the first family. Like, we have a first lady of the United States. But my husband always says every time he gets the mic that first denotes that there will be a second. So he says that she's my only and leading lady. But I believe that I am a server. My goal and my job in the capacity of a first lady, of the leading lady of Greater Life Ministry, is to serve the people that are there. So it is not my job. It is not for me to be served. While I understand the protocol and the submission to leadership and all of that stuff, that is great. And I always tell our church members and parishioners and that kind of stuff, I'm not here to be served. I can carry my own bag. I can get all of those things. I can get my own water. I can do all of those things. I am here for you. I am here to serve you. I am here to serve alongside my husband. We operate in ministry like we operate in our home. We help one another. So to answer that question, in my eyes, a first lady's role is to still serve, not be served.
Yes, and I'm right there with you. I totally agree. Now, I don't think there's an issue with you receiving someone to freely serve you, someone that is there with you to. I think a lot of times we say my handle is Lady El Po, and it's so funny. I shared this story with you. I'm not a first lady of a church, but I am the first lady of my home. So that I've just always used that handle. And I said to my husband the other day, I don't want to give people, now that I'm connecting with people, more and more people, those that already know me know what I think about that, but I don't want to give other people that I'm just connected with in the church world, my phone isn't working and I don't have a web. No problem, Lady Scott. And so, but I said, I'm going to change my handle because I don't want to give people the wrong impression. And he was like, no, you're the first lady of the home. That's why you did that, So that's why, just so everybody knows, that's my handle. But to speak to that, I think that we kind of use the word armor bearer a little loosely. And I kind of always compare the armor bearer to the, I don't want to mess it up, to the cupbearer that used to serve the king back in the Old Testament. And the thing that I realized in the midst of even a while ago, taking a look at the cupbearer's role, the one thing that stuck out to me is that the cupbearer's role is to go and get what's needed for the king, whether it's a cup, whether it's food. But what the cupbearer also does is he tastes the food. He makes sure the job of that cupbearer was to make sure that the king wasn't going to get anything that would kill him, right? Yeah. And so when I take a look at the cupbearer's role, it makes me go to the armor bearer's role that we use in the church world. I look at the armor bearer's role as the same way. If you have an armor bearer, the armor bearer's job is to make sure that there's nothing that's going to come up against you to kill you, meaning to kill your spirit. There's nothing that's going to they should be praying for you. They should be they're not there to be your girlfriend. If you guys become friends, fine. But when they're in that particular role at that moment, and even if they're not beside you and they're at home, they should be praying for you. So I look at it in that way. Does that make sense? So I agree that the first ladies should always serve. But I don't have an absolute problem with them being served as long as it's in the right form. We're supposed to be creating leaders. If we are leaders in ministry, we have those that follow us. And yes, the word of God says, follow me as I follow Christ, but they're not supposed to follow you forever. Eventually they should be able to lead. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I'll just say that right now, I don't have an armor bearer. While I've had people that have approached me and wanted to help and assist and help me and be an armor bearer, my definition of an armor bearer is very biblical. Their job is to kill off enemies. While in the actual and biblical times, they were actually killing off enemies. But I need for you to war for me in the spiritual realm.
Absolutely.
feel like you're my friend, or this is a way for you to get closer to someone or something of that sort. So that's not what an armor bearer is. I can carry my own Bible. I can carry my own, all of those things. I have my own water with me. But if you're, and one of the things that me and my friend were actually just talking about, if you are loading me with problems, if you're coming to me for prayer, if you are the person that is weighing me down, how can you bear arms for me? How can you war in the spirit before I can even come in? So it's not about once we get there, because once we get there, you should have already scoured the land. You should have done all of these things for me. You should have already been praying for me way before I got to where we're going, so that you can intercede for my spirit and kill off anything that's contrary to what I'm walking in when I come in. So right now, people don't understand it, because the position has been made a glitz and glamour position that you're in the in crowd. So absolutely not. Like right now, every woman in our ministry, when they go out with me, when I minister to support, all of them serve to assist me. All of them serve in a capacity to help their leader out. But there is no one person that goes with me. I have accountability partners who I have friends in ministry who I'll call and say, hey, can you ride with me here? I don't want it to be anybody else. I just want us. And I just want somebody that I know that's going to cover my spirit and go. So you got to bear the arms, right? You have to bear the arms. If your spirit isn't there, what are you bearing? What are you doing? And I can remember, I don't think it's any of my members on here. I can remember.
Just Pergio. Don't forget he's here. How you say his name, Pergio?
Remember, and I won't use names or anything like that, where someone came to me and felt that they were led to serve me. And one of the things I said was, what is your prayer life like? What are you like? What are the things that, do you know me in the spiritual realm? You've been here and you've been a member, but do you know me in the spiritual realm to be able to serve? And that question kind of stumped, and she just looked like, what does that, really mean? And while her heart and her desire was there, it wasn't a pure motive. She wanted to get close. And I will find that every time we would go somewhere, she would always want to be where I was and around all of the other first ladies and other pastors and that kind of stuff. So I knew that that wasn't the best fit. I knew that at that time, that wasn't what she needed to do. While she may just needed to be cultivated in this time, I can't go and cultivate you on my way there. You can't ride with me an hour and a half and dump all of your problems on me and I'm helping you. If you can't discern in the spirit that you can't weigh me down because I'm about to go minister, then absolutely not. You're not there. So right now, I don't have an armor bearer. My husband usually covers me. If he can't go with me because it's specific to women, I'll definitely have an accountability partner and one of my friends, close friends that are in ministry or something like that. So right now, until God, because I definitely believe that it is a spirit-led, God-led, it's a spirit-led, God-led position. So if God hasn't given that to me, then I don't need one. I'm okay.
You're okay. Yes, I like that. That's good. That's good. The interesting thing is, like, we talk about how you were saying about, and I also said, like, the cupbearer, the armor bearer's job is to kill off things, to make sure that nobody's trying to get to you to kill you. And the interesting thing is, even when you talked about the lady getting close, when she was getting close to you, she was actually killing your spirit, man, because she was actually, like you said, if she's dumping everything on you before you're about to preach, it's like, wait a minute, now I gotta go and I gotta unload and I gotta empty everything you just dumped on me so I can free myself of your baggage, so that I can go out here and free these people that the Lord has assigned me to speak to in this moment. And so I believe that's really, I totally agree with you. I agree with you in that fashion. And so I think we have to be careful within ministries of our positions, And like you said, if God hasn't assigned this person to have that responsibility, then why have them? Just to say you have them? It totally doesn't make any sense. And most of all, it doesn't line up with the word of God, because you don't want anyone in position that shouldn't be in position. Because if they be there, they're not going to operate accordingly, you know. And so we got to be mindful of that in ministries when we're just putting people wherever just because. You know, I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. And you talked about using discernment. You know, you have to have someone that's beside you that's using discernment, that's able to discern, like when you're about to be approached, when that person shouldn't even be approaching you right now. They have to be able to use discernment. It's not about you carrying my Bible, you doing this, you taking pictures of me, you doing that. You know, that's not the assignment that you have. Your assignment is that you're praying for me in the spirit. Your assignment is that you're holding up my arms. And that scripture in the Bible, you're holding up my arms, and oh, I wish I can grab it. I need to get my notes. And when they begin to let one arm down, they begin to lose the battle, and then oh gosh, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, you need them to hold your arms up. They're there.
Hold your arms up, because in holding your arms up, you're so that you can continue to run this race. You don't get worn out. You don't get tired, because the minute people start, you know, letting you down and letting your arms down, you begin to get tired. And so they're supposed to be there to hold you up so that you can stay strong in order to win the battle. So we have been here with Lady Hughes and having a very awesome conversation. Thank you to those that are joining live with us now, those that will watch the rebroadcast, those will listen to the audio. Those that did subscribe, you will receive an email with the audio. So anything that you've missed, you'll be able to replay it back and listen to it again. So we've been up here, it's 8:47. So I want those that are listening now live, if you have any questions pertaining to what we're speaking about or off topic or whatever, not so far off topic, but if you have any questions that you want to have for myself or Lady Yah, if you can put them in the comment section, that will be great. That'll be great. So we'll wait for some questions to come.
Okay. Yes.
Any questions that you may have for Lady Yah. I want you also, Lady Yah, please tell me where they can get your book again so I can key it in.
Yes. So you can get the book again. It is madeforpurpose.org. And my book is called Made Whole, A Woman's Journey from Painful to Powerful. And that is at madeforpurpose.org. I'm super excited because I sold a couple of weeks ago, I sold 25 books to a freshman class at a university, and I just got an order for 60 books for another department at that university, and also signing me on to come and administer workshops afterwards. So God is just really story.
Awesome. So we have a question from Shantae. She asks, what are 3 things you would tell women in ministry that they need to succeed?
The 3 things that I would definitely tell you that you need to succeed is, 1, your prayer life needs to be first and automatic. A lot of times we get into ministry and we go full force and we serve and we serve and we serve. And sometimes that is at the expense of our prayer life. You have to pray more than you did before you got into ministry, because you got to begin to have your prayer life so strong that when you go and you operate in ministry at different churches and that kind of stuff, you have to have the discernment, and your spirit man has to be able to withstand every other spirit that's going to come your way. So you have to have power, you have to have authority. So your prayer life has to be number 1. Number 2, I would definitely say, is stay true to yourself. There are going to be a lot of people and a lot of times where they are going to try to place you in a box of what a woman in ministry should be. God called you specifically for those that are assigned to you the way that you are. So do not try to change who you are. Change who you are. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Shantae. So you can talk to Shantae directly. Go ahead, finish your points, Lady Yah.
So 1 was a prayer life, making sure that you have a prayer life, or your prayer life does not diminish once you get into ministry. 2, be authentically you, who you are. Stand firm and confident in who God called you to be, because a lot of times women will give you, other women in ministry will give you all of the tips and tools and want you to do things this way or that way. You have been called to a specific person, specific people, and you need to make sure that you're not changing who you are and miss your assignment. So making sure that you stay authentically you. So 1, a prayer life. 2, stay authentically you. And 3, make sure you study the word of God. Study, it's always some new revelation. It's always something new and something different that you can learn as you grow and as God reveals to you what your vein is, what you are required to do, and what your actual ministry is, be it restoration, be it purpose, be it all of those things. You study all of those. I can remember studying the Jezebel spirit. I can remember studying the spirit of fear. I can remember studying that spirit of restoration, because if I am going to do and operate in what God called me to do, in my gifts and my calling, I need to know them before anybody else. I need to know them better than anybody else, so I can recognize those things beforehand. And studying, bonus, or studying for your edification, not just when it's time to minister. A lot of times we get into this place where we study, but we study for a sermon. We study to minister, but we're not studying, to edify our spirit. So making sure that not only do you study for edification, you have your own personal devotion time with God. Lady Poe, I can't see you or Shantae.
Okay, I don't know if you need anyone else having that. Can you see me, Shantae?
Yes, I can see both of you.
So, Lady, you'll need to refresh.
Audio only.
You need to refresh again. Do you want me to click you off and do you want to call back?
How do I press refresh? That's what I don't.
I don't know how to do it from your iPhone. That's the thing. I just know how to do it from my laptop. Your iPad, I don't know. I only know how to do it from my laptop.
Okay, so what I'll do is, I'm sorry, I will jump out and jump back in.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So what she said was, she's having a poor internet connection. So I hope those things spoke to you. And the thing about it is that there's nothing new under the sun. Those are the same principles that we've always had to use throughout. Let me just check her in. She's coming back. Those principles that she gave to pray, to study. I wrote it to pray, to stay who you are, and to study. Those principles will always remain. Like, we cannot. They always say this thing about people, how they took prayer out of the school. But, you can take prayer out of school, but you can't take prayer. They really haven't taken it out of school, because as long as your children are praying and you're still teaching the prayer, it's still in the school, right? And so the thing about it is that that's one thing that will never fail is prayer. You have to pray. That will never change in regards to our life, in regards to our lifestyle, what we need to do. Prayer needs to be the greatest thing that you're doing. And then when she touched on the about studying the word, I can attest to what she said. Someone said that to me long ago when I started speaking in ministry. I remember I spoke at a women's conference, and a lady that I know, she came and she reminded me, don't only study when you're called upon, but you need to always be prepared. And so although you're not called, or someone hasn't invited you to speak somewhere, or you're not doing a Blab or anything like that, or a Bible study, you have to remain prepared. So you should be studying all the time. And anyways, how do we pray without the word? The thing about it is God is waiting to hear his word. So when we're praying that for healing, we ought to be reciting things like, you are Jehovah Rapha, you are the God that heals. We ought to be reciting, by your stripes we are healed. We ought to be reciting, you are the God that healeth. When we're praying for our finances, we ought to be praying praying the prayers about our finances. You said in your word that you'll open up, the windows of heaven and pour me out a blessing I won't have room to receive. So when we're praying, we should be praying the word. So it's not that we pray and don't have the word. They are joined together. And the other point
absolutely
he gave you,
the Bible tells us to show thyself approved, a workman is not dividing the word truthfully. So you got to make sure that you're studying, because what you put in is what you regurgitate, and it's not just to make sure that you are speaking, but it is who you are. In order for you to grow in yourself and in your own personal spirit, man, and in your life every single day, you need to have time with God. You need to make sure that you are studying the word of God and you get new and fresh revelation, because season we're going through something different. We may not understand what that scripture meant before, but we do now. And we know that in prayer, you give him back his word. You give him back everything he has said. So you're absolutely right. They go hand in hand.
Yeah. And then she talked about being you, how you have to be you. Like in women's ministry, you can't allow what you're seeing out here dictate how you operate in women's ministry or how you operate as a woman in ministry. If I allowed what's going on right now to dictate how I did handle women or was a woman in ministry, I wouldn't be on Blab. You know what I'm saying? It's like when God dropped those ideas in you to do what he wants you to do for, to elevate, the kingdom of heaven, or to, so more people can see what's going on. You use those platforms. And so I just go ahead, Shantae. I'll let you have a moment.
No, I agree with everything she said. And I basically was asking, in general, because so many times we forget the basics. A lot of times, people have made ministry into a business, and you forget that people are still people, and you need to be able to give the same word to a person on the corner or in the crack house that you would do on a platform of thousands. And so many times we can't do that because we're only preparing for the next engagement. But every time we wake up is an engagement, because we don't know who we're going to run into. So we definitely have to have the word in us. We definitely have to be ourselves, because who can beat you being you?
That's it. That is it. That is
so
it.
I mean, you have to do you. God has given us all gifts, and when we learn to appreciate our gifts, and when we reject our gifts, we are in a sense rejecting God. Because we're saying, God, you didn't make me good enough. God, you didn't give me something, that Lady Poe has, so I can't do this. When God has given us everything we need for the assignment in our life. And when we come to that realization, we will be awesome, because every one of us has a reach. My reach is going to be different from your reach. Not just because we're on separate corners of the world, but because our assignment is different.
That's right.
Our goal is the same, but our assignment is different. We're going to touch different people. We're going to reach, different types of people. And so we can't get caught up in the details. You have to get caught up in him. And
that's
so
right.
if we ever get back to that, everybody will, the four corners of the world will get the gospel. If we would just do those things, the four corners of the world would get the gospel, and we would be ready. So I love it. Love it.
Yeah. I was just looking at my notes, and I couldn't remember the scripture, but I found it. And it's stay in your own lane. Galatians 6:4 says, pay careful attention to your work, for then you will get satisfaction of the job well done, and you won't compare yourself to anyone else. So while, in the world, they have the whole stay in your lane. That is absolutely true. I have to be authentic to me and what God has called me to do. So the work that he's given me, the work that he's given you, the work that he's given you, if we pay close attention to that, we don't have time to worry about anybody else. So if I'm in lane 2, while we're all in ministry, you're in lane 1 and you're in lane 3. If I am doing what God has called me to do authentically, I don't have time to compare it to what Lady Poe is doing, or what Shantae is doing, or what nonprofit she started for women, all of that kind of stuff. We can collaborate, but we have to make sure that we are authentic and be who God called us to be. Nobody can represent you better than you. And he called you the way that you were to be able to be a mirror and a light for those people that have been through some of the things that you've been through.
Yes. Pergio, I hope I'm saying his name right. He says, because we all have different assignments, no one dreams the same. And that's absolutely right. We don't. I am finishing my hospital visits, but thank you. Okay. That was Gina. Gina is joining us. She's finishing her hospital visit. But yeah, our assignments. Thank you so much for coming in. It looks like you have a bad connection now, Shantae. You went away, but I will X you out, and you can feel free to come back if you like. I think you went away. Can you see her, Lady Ya?
No, it's
only the audio. Yeah, we can't see you, so you all. You could try to working. Okay, yeah. Log back in, jump back in the seat we'd love to have you. But it is now 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And once again, I am here with Lady Ya Hughes. This is the Sister Gathering Blab. Thank you for those that are just joining. We appreciate you. Hope you're enjoying the conversation. Don't forget that you can hit the little birdie over in the left-hand corner to invite others. But I think it's been an awesome conversation thus far. And just to touch on the different assignments and not looking like each other. And, to even speak to the fact that there's nothing new under the sun and that we are to be different. Some things might be similar because we get caught up in the fact of saying like, oh, well, this one, like if somebody turns around and does a blab, I'm not going to be like, oh, now this one's doing a blab. No, I need to be excited because someone else took this platform and is using it to glorify God. And Absolutely. So we gotta get away. We gotta get away from that because even though you did a blab, it's still not this blab. Every blab will still be different because the conversation will go different. So we kind of got to get away from that too, So, Shantae, where are you located? And do you run your women's ministry, or what is Greater Working Women?
I just relocated from Mississippi to South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And I have a women's ministry that God has given me. And right now I'm writing. I released my first book in April. I'm working on some more. And I also work with teen moms because I was a teen mom. So I know the struggles that they go with. So I created a program that's free for them to go through the different topics, of motherhood and forgiveness and purpose and fear and loving God's way that touch, because I realize that if they don't heal emotionally, that stuff carries on into their adulthood and it can pass on to their children. And so I noticed that when my daughter was in high school, and it was like, so I had to pray. I was like, Lord, you got to hurry up and redeem the time and, not allow her to have that same cycle. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so many times we get caught up in looking and, downgrading them, but not realizing that if they don't heal emotionally, regardless of how they got there, if they don't heal emotionally, they come a hurt woman in an adult life. The cycle repeats itself. So God has called me for so long. I was afraid and ashamed of my testimony until I looked at it a different way. And God had to start healing me in my adult life to realize, I brought you out so you can help bring others out. That's it. So that's one of my passions, helping with teen moms. So I'm getting that started and I'm just so excited.
Awesome. That's awesome. So you can definitely, I'm sure, benefit from following Lady Ya. If you're not following her on her social media sites, because I know she speaks to that a lot and where her ministry focuses and how she talked about restoring, and she works with young ladies, her non-profit organization that she's preparing for. If I'm incorrect, correct me, Lady Ya. And so I think you should definitely connect with her. I think you should definitely get her book. And she has a powerful testimony. She told a little bit about it tonight, but I'm sure the book goes even deeper in that. And Pergio, can you put that up one more time? Put up her address. But I think that you will it'll do you due diligence if you definitely connect with her and watch her scopes. She talks about that on her those things in her passion. Like I said, thank you, Pergio. Her passion just comes through. It's there. She's a godsend, and I can't wait to see how she will affect so many lives, how she's going to affect so many young, not only, I don't want to say only women, because I always say we're not called to gender, but we're called to people. But in this season, in this particular moment, it might just be her time to really affect young women. And so I can see how she's going to be so powerful in that. And so now you've relocated. Did you hear the whole interview? How her husband relocated?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Yes. So I think that you stay connected with me too. I'm so glad we connected. I got to put the face with the name, and I want to make sure if you're not connected with Lady Ya, you can click right now to follow her, and let me click right now to actually follow you as well, Greater Working Woman. Follow you, and then you can follow her at Lady Ya under her Periscope, and then her your Periscope is just Lady Ya, but your Twitter is Lady Ya Empowers.
Yes.
Okay.
So Twitter and Instagram is Lady Ya Empowers, and Periscope is Lady Ya.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can find her. I follow her, so you can definitely find her if you look under my followers and following. You can definitely find her. Thank you so much, Greater Working Woman, for popping in. If you have another question, you can put it in the comment box. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good to see you. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Right. So if anybody else has a question, you can put the question over there in the comment section, or you can come and take a seat. I don't know if anybody else has a question. If you have a question, I would like for you to come take a seat. So, but I also don't want to hold Lady Ya all night. So you let me know, because she has to tell us what you got to do tomorrow, Lady Ya.
I have to minister tomorrow at our church. So, I minister once a month at our church. It used to be the last Sunday of every month, but my pastor has decided that whenever he wants me to preach, I preach. I'm very obedient. So I am excited to get into the Word of God for tomorrow. We are in a refresh series, refreshing relationship with God. So what we did was the is the relationship, but we break down every week fresh. So F was kill your flesh and let your faith shine. And R was returning to righteousness. And tomorrow,
I listened to Returning to Righteousness. I think that's the one. Okay, yeah. I hope somebody gives somebody your phone tomorrow. Okay, go ahead.
I sure will. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about having an encounter. What do you do with your encounter with God? So that's going to be good. I'm coming from the Samaritan woman at the well, so I'm excited.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. And you had to refresh on this Blab twice. So that was just that that's going to just be a part of your message or somewhere. That's a setup. That was a setup.
You can't get frustrated when you got to refresh. It happens all the time.
It's so funny because I did a message where I talked about Abraham and Sarah, and I said my thing. Sometimes you got to refresh. Sometimes you have to hit restart, and we are so glad that we can get a fresh start with God. So wow, we can get a fresh start. A sinful woman did a citywide revival. She's talking about your topic for tomorrow. What you're going to be.
Absolutely. What do you want to do with your encounter with God? That one encounter can spark so much. So I don't want to give away my points because some of my members are on here now. So
okay.
Onique is my daughter and member. So she's on.
And I asked her if she wanted to come take a seat. She didn't want to come take a seat, but you know what?
She's in the other room. She's in the next room.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So the thing about Blab, as you can see, we have been blessed on tonight to touch 40 lives. And so people on Blab, just for those that are new to Blab that are watching us now, if you know anything about Blab, it's a whole lot of Blabs going on right now. And so it's up to you to choose the Blab you want to just focus in on. So I appreciate you all coming in and focusing on this Blab. So people come in and out the room. It's kind of like Periscope. They'll jump off your scope to scope with somebody else if they get a notification. Blab is like that. Blab, there's so many Blabs going on at one time, so people will come in and out. But I thank God that we were able to bless the lives of 40 people. Awesome job, Lady Ya. I will not keep you any longer. Thank you so much once again. You're an awesome woman of God, and I'm so glad to be connected with you. I thank you for giving me your time on tonight to be a part of the Sister Gathering Blab. And I look forward to staying connected with you. And I look forward to hearing some of that word on tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Thank you so much for having me, for even seeing something in me that you wanted to dig a little deeper. So I absolutely love this platform. She taught me how to use it, guys. So maybe I'll host something myself one day.
Yeah, use it. Use it.
Talk about purpose and power and all of that good stuff. So we'll
talk about your book. You talk about your book.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And the interesting thing,
so that would be awesome for me to do like some stuff on the book. So okay, mental note, I'm going to have that. I'm going to.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that there are cool ways, and I'll tell you one way. Like if you don't want to guess, or if you want to fill the seat beside you, is that you pull up your Blab for you to talk and be the host on one device, and then on another device you allow yourself to join, but you have the picture of your book in that block. You know what I'm saying?
Good stuff. Yes.
So you have the picture of your book. So you would be in my seat, your book, it would be in that seat. And then the other two seats you can use to accommodate if you want to add others too. So your book will always be the feature. Your book will always be standing out. You're welcome. And so
blessed by this tonight, and I thank each of you for coming on. So Lady Poe, you don't know this, but if you could inbox me your address, I'm going to bless you with a book, just for just who you are and allowing me to be on this platform. And I just so appreciate you. So I want to sow into you because you've taken time out to sow into me. So please inbox me your address.
We got to talk about that because I got to bless you for being on the thing. I got to buy the book.
You can bless somebody else. You can bless somebody else. But I will sign the book to you. So you
Yes, I need that signature. Look, your future's so bright. I'm going to be like, I know her. Do you see? She signed my book. That's where you're going.
We're going to get your transportation company and we're going to work it out and we're going to be on the road together.
Hey, that sounds like a plan. That sounds like a good plan.
Portia, because she's all things purpose, just like us, and we're gonna take this trio on the road.
Yes, and you know what? We need to. When we get on scope, we're gonna. I don't know. Darling, you should have had that phone together.
Yes, darling. We need that phone together.
Yes.
We need to figure out where the middle ground is for all of us because we're all in different places. And I say we host the sister gathering in person and we do all kinds of stuff, some kind of 1 day, 2 day conference. So
we're getting there. If you don't, the history of the sister gathering, it was birthed in 2011. It was a conference. So, yes, it was a, it
doesn't have to be for sisters only.
Oh, why it gotta be? No, there were guys there too. And with the release of God, and of course, of God releasing me to do it and giving me the vision, and then my husband was just by my side and pushed me the whole way through. We birthed the sister gathering. It was like one of the first conferences that ever happened in my city. And so it was interesting the way that we did it. We had a venue, we had vendors, we had my spiritual mother came all the way from Georgia, so we had people to come in. We had awesome worship, and I was the speaker. And so I'm getting better at doing events because the what I will tell you right now, my biggest mistake was not having it professionally recorded in any manner. pictures, nothing. I got one picture of me and my sister from that moment because I was I'm trying to tell you. And in a way,
it's okay. So you got to do it over.
People were really in tune, but but it was a blessing, and it blessed many. And a lot of I've been asked many a time, when are you gonna have the sister gathering? When are you gonna have the sister gathering again? And even when people started to see me do blabs, like, oh, I'm glad you brought that back, but when are you gonna actually? I'm glad you brought it back in that form, but when will there be another one? And so people are asking, but I don't let them push me. We're doing God's timing, but I'm glad that I know that you'll be in one of those seats, though.
Yeah,
you'll be in one of those seats. Yeah.
You're in North. You're in Massachusetts, right?
Yes, I am. I'm in Massachusetts.
Train. No need to drive. Let me relax. Get on the Amtrak. And
really?
Pastor Portia, I have a couple of my god sister, cousin, and some college friends are in the Atlanta area. Just moved there for work a week ago, so I may be there before next year's out anyway. Do a book signing, book tour. So listen.
Look, yeah. It'll be awesome. Yeah, we're gonna connect face to face. We're gonna definitely get that. I mean, I've been able to. I know she's probably like, I'm not even in the seat, and they're talking about me. Yes, we're talking about you. We want to make sure you have that phone ready next time. And I think Pastor Scott had something to do with this. No, sir. Anyway.